get pain on the outside of your knee after you run or walking up and down steps, or maybe it's after you've had a great Peloton ride. The outside of your leg just feels tight and you have a lot of pain down here by your knee. If that's you, this video is going to be great for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Putney from Wellington Family Chiropractic, and today I want to talk about IT band syndrome. So what is the IT band and what is the syndrome? The IT band just stands for the iliotibial band, and that is a band of tissue that runs from the hip down into and past, but right outside the lateral aspect of your knee or past the outside of your knee. It starts at the iliac crest. There's a muscle here called the TFL, or the tensor fascia lata, but we're going to call that the TFL because it's a big word. So it starts as a sheath around that muscle. It comes down across the hip, and then it collects some of the tendons from the glutes and then runs down the leg down to the outside of the knee. So when someone has IT band syndrome, what is happening is they've developed too much tightness in the IT band itself, and there's a lot of theories on what could be causing the pain down here, but there's a fat pad underneath the IT band just above the knee, and that will swell due to friction or repetitive, mechanical stress, and then that person tends to develop pain a few centimeters just above the outside of the knee, or where that IT band runs across. So right in this area here. A lot of times this will be found in my runners, cyclists. I have a lot of patients that are active, so we'll see it commonly in our athletes and our weekend warriors, or people just trying to stay in shape. And so it can create a lot of pain and it can disrupt your exercise. The question is, why would someone develop too much tightness in their IT band? Well, typically this dysfunction is caused by stiffness and weakness in the muscles at the top of the hip. So a lot of times we'll get stiffness in that TFL, and we'll have weakness in a group of muscles called the hip abductors. What are the hip abductors? Well, the hip abductors include the glutes, but what the hip abductors do is they abduct the leg away from the hip, or anything that rotates or takes away from the hip. I always tell my patients, if we were to abduct something of yours, we take it away. That's what these guys do. They take the leg or the hip away from midline. And a lot of times when you have weakness here, you get too much tension in the TFL, the glute, and then way too much tightness in the IT band, and it causes that friction or that pain down towards the knee, or you can even have discomfort up here by the hip. So how do you fix it? Well, you've got to do a couple different things. You've got to get some flexibility or decrease the tightness in the band itself, and then you need to do corrective exercises to strengthen the hip abductors that are causing that excess tension. So one quick note about stretching the IT band. It's pretty resistant to stretch. It doesn't stretch well. So a lot of people try to stretch it and smash it with a foam roller. It doesn't work all that well. You've got to gain most of your flexibility in that TFL and the glutes. So what I always tell my patients is, you want to do, if you're going to do target massage on yourself, whether that's like with a lacrosse ball or a rolling pin digging in or a foam roller, focus less on the IT band itself, more on the TFL, more on the glutes, and that will loosen up the IT band, and then make sure you're doing the right exercises there. So what we've got for you today are a couple easy exercises to begin to work on those hip abductors, and then some good stretches for the areas around the IT band to take some pressure off and hopefully help you guys with that stubborn outer leg and knee pain. Okay, so the next thing we're going to go over is a quadruped piriformis stretch. So to do this, Jacob's going to get on all fours. So this is going to hit the piriformis that typically gets tight with these type of conditions. It also really clears out the glute. It's a great stretch for the whole area. So what he's going to do is, we're going to start with his right side. He's going to come in front of him. The knee comes down below his chest. His left leg is just straight on the table. So to start the stretch, he's just kind of letting his torso slide forward there and sinking down towards the floor of the table. And then after he's there for a few seconds, this ankle that you can't see that's underneath him, I'm going to have him push that ankle into the surface that you're on, or the table in this instance, for 7 seconds. Relax, sink further into the stretch, letting his torso kind of go forward, and then consciously thinking about taking this leg further this direction. And he'll tell you that's a big amount of tension all across through there. Hold that for 10 seconds. We would then again contract the ankle into the floor, 7 seconds. 7 seconds is gone. We would relax. We do 3 sets of the contract, relax circuits, and you can do this once to twice a day. Okay, guys, so this next stretch is a standing TFL stretch. So we talked about that muscle that sits right here and connects into the IT band. So for this stretch, he's going to go into a split stance with the TFL he's stretching. That leg goes behind. Most of your body weight is going to be put onto this leg. This front leg is bent, and there's not much of your body weight on that. So from there, he's going to sink that glute towards the wall and rotate the pelvis away a little bit. And you want to think about keeping the sternum over that hip. And you should feel that stretch right in through there. Now, to contract and relax with this stretch is he's going to think about taking this foot towards the wall, or if he was sliding that leg towards the wall, 7 seconds, and then he would relax and let that sink further down in. Again, contract for 7 seconds, sink down into the stretch, and you would do 3 sets of the 3 contract and relax cycles, and you can do this stretch every day. All right, so this exercise is called the clam, and this is again to strengthen the hip abductors, or in other words, the muscles that move the leg away from the body. So what I have Jacob doing is just sideline. You can do this preferably at home on the floor. You need a firm surface. But all you're going to do is lay down like Jacob is here. His knee is bent, and his ankle is pretty much in line with the bony part of his hip here. So what he's going to do is keep his feet together. And then I'm just going to cue him to create some pressure here. All that does is we want tension all the way around. If you feel all the way around your abdomen, that should be nice and tight. You shouldn't just be all loosey-goosey here as you're doing this exercise. So we have tension here, and then what he's going to do is bring his knee up as far as he can and then back down. And that would be 1 rep. You would do this on both sides, 3 sets of 10, and you can do this every day. What you don't want to do is a lot of people will cheat and they'll start to roll their entire pelvis back. We want Jacob to keep his hips relatively stacked, limit the movement there, and all the movement be there, and he can tell you he's getting a better contraction if this stays still. So the clam exercise, super easy, super effective. Give it a try. Okay, so the next exercise is called a side bridge, and what we're going to do for this is the setup is Jacob's lying on his side. You'll do this on both sides. He's got his knees slightly bent, and so for the first way we're going to show how to do this exercise, he's going to keep his knees bent, and his bottom knees is going to be one of the anchor spots or contact points onto the floor when he does the exercise. So he's going to cue his shoulder by pushing his elbow firmly into the ground. You want to think about pushing it away, and that packs your shoulder. And then he's going to bring his hips off the ground, keeping tension in the abdomen again. And you want a relatively straight line from the knee, hip to shoulder. You don't want to be sagging down or overdo it to where you're here. It should be a nice straight line. Tension here as you hold. And you can hold this 30 seconds at a time, up to 2 to 3 minutes in terms of building up to that. Really good exercise. The way you can increase the amount of work for yourself is you're going to straighten your leg. Now you can either keep your feet stacked, or if you need a little extra balance, you can bring that top leg slightly behind. The same cue goes here, pressure here, straight line. And again, we're just holding this. You may be only able to hold it for 15 to 20 seconds when you first start, but you can build up to holding it a minute, doing that 2 to 3 minutes, and you can do this one every day. All right, guys, so there you have it. Some easy stretches, some easy exercises to work on this condition at home. As always, if you ever have questions, we're always here for you at 859-309-1996 or at wellchiropractic.com. Have a great day.